Hey class, last topic of the week for our 1D waves. This is the last thing we're going to do about 1D waves. Basically talking about like waves, crest, troughs in that sense. Otherwise we're going to get to 2D waves next week. But we have superposition, and we already did a little tiny start of this last week when we talked about superposition. Basically we talked about, again, if a crest and a crest meet, they're going to make a larger crest. And oppositely, if we have a crest and a trough meet, so we have a crest and a trough meet, so if they're both going this direction, they're going to have like destructive interference, which basically means that they're going to cancel out. So we're going to do this in more of a sense. I'm going to show you a little website talking about superposition and kind of what it means for full waves. And then in our little file folder, I have a worksheet that goes with the superposition, and then I'll go through an example of that right here as well. Okay. So let's go to this. Okay, and yes, I'll turn this on. All right. So here we have waves, and it's talking basically about our superposition principle. Basically, if this wave and this wave were to interact, what would you actually get? Well, because the crests line up with the crests and the troughs line up with the troughs, again, you get a new wave that would have bigger amplitude for crest and bigger amplitude of troughs. And basically, so you end up getting a bigger wave, okay? Same wavelength, that's not changing, but the actual amplitude is bigger, okay? So again, it's just that same kind of principle of those adding up. As well, again, if this wave were to be with this wave, where a crest meets a trough, and then the next one, the trough meets the crest, you're gonna get this kind of wave. They're gonna cancel out, because this crest cancels out this trough, and this trough here cancels out this, and so on and so on and so on. And so you get basically, again, the destructive interference. You'd be getting a wave that basically isn't a wave anymore because they cancel out. Okay, so that's our understanding, our kind of basics of superposition. And then let's actually go with kind of what I have in the worksheet folder for what we want to look on. So if you go in the file folder, you'll see superposition examples, and you get something like this. Okay. This worksheet talks about basically we have a pulse here and a pulse here. This one's more looking like a crest that has a wavelength of 3. This one has a trough with a wavelength of 4. And so now we're going to see what happens when they meet the middle. So it says that basically both these waves move at 2 units per second. So kind of now similar going to our other worksheets that had some of this. Move at 2 units per second for 6 seconds. So basically this wave is going to move 12 units. This little wave is going to move 12 units. They're kind of both pulses of crest and trough, but we'll call them waves for now. Okay, so how would I do that? Well, basically what I like to do is I like to use a little dot theory, okay? And I'll use 2 colors because it may help you as well using 2 colors. Because in the end, we're actually going to draw what these 2 waves look like when they actually interact with each other. So first I'm going to move this one 12, okay? So I'm going to start with this front line. It's going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's going to be here, okay? And then I'm going to put a dot and a dot and a dot, okay? And then that's it, okay? These 2 are on equilibrium, so I don't. So that's kind of where that wave lies. I could put a line there, but I'll tell you why I want to make the dots in a second. Now this thing is also going to move this way for 12 units. So I'm going to start with this leading edge again. And go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so this is what this one looks like. Dot, 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 and there it is. All right. Now I actually have to draw what is it going to look like in the end, okay? So I'm trying to find a different color. I think I got green over here. Hopefully this green works, and hopefully you can see it. If not, I'll just do it in blue. But we have this crest with an amplitude 2 interacting here. So you can kind of see that this crest of 2 and this amplitude of 2 is going to cancel out. So I can kind of just cancel out, and this is where the new dot I'm going to put is. Okay, right there, because I have a positive 2 and a negative 2. If you want to think of it in that way, it kind of helps out. But a crest of amplitude of 2 and a trough, they cancel out. Same thing right here. This dot and this dot cancel out. This dot and this dot, again, they cancel out. Now, this is where this actual pulse ended, right here. There's still this here. So this one's going to stay because this little crest ended. So I'm going to put my green dot here. So what would this actually end up looking like? Well, we can kind of get rid of our outside lines now. I like using the outside lines because it tells me to show where the wave was. But now this is what it's going to look like. Very, very mundane. It's going to go down and back up. And that's because this little trough was bigger, like in wavelength, than this other one. So when these two waves met at that point, this is what you'd see. You'd see a small little trough because parts of them are canceling out, but this little trough is still left over. And so that's how to kind of go through this little worksheet. I can do one more here, and then hopefully that should be able to do good. We're going to go over this as well in our Thursday live meeting. We'll be talking about superposition. Okay, let's just do the top one here. All these answers are already in the file folder, but let's go through this one right here, and that'll be it. So we have this one. I'm going to use my little dots again. So this is going to move again 12, like 2 units per second, 6, or 12 again. All right, so we have our first wave. I'm going to put it in blue. Let's move this 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, I'm going to put this here. Now, there's a little part of a crest for this one. This one's, again, it's now kind of an up and down wave, so I think it has a crest and trough and a crest. So we have a crest part, then it goes down to a trough or two, and back up to a crest, and then it ends right there. And that's how I draw this one, okay? Because you can kind of see what it would look like if I filled it in. I use the dot theory because, again, when you interact with the other one, it's a lot easier with dots than all the lines they were. This one's going to move 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So here's my line, and it's a 2, 2. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So now, how are these going to interact? Crest of 2, trough of 2. All right, we're going to end up back here with nothing. Now, we have a trough interacting with a trough, which means that trough is going to get bigger. Okay, this has like a -1 amplitude and a -2 amplitude, which means when they add together, you're going to have a -3 amplitude. Okay, or a trough of 3. Same with this one here. And then we get a crest and a trough that have the same amplitude, so they cancel out. So there's my actual dots. Okay, so now I can kind of draw what this is going to be like. Okay, I'll get rid of these lines, and I'm just looking at my green lines now. Okay, this is what it's going to look like. I'm going to go like this. I'm going to go all the way down, back up to this, and that is, again, hopefully in green you can see it, that is what my resulting wave or my superposition is going to look like. Okay, in the sense of we had some cancellation to go back to equilibrium, but we had some troughs that also added together. And so that's where we got that trough was bigger. Okay, so that's how to do the worksheet that I've kind of put up in there. The assignment will have 1 or 2 questions just like this going through this. So hopefully that makes sense. We'll talk about it a little in live class, but hopefully this has helped you kind of through this week. All right, class, thanks so much. Hope you have a good day. I have to now end this video and go out. There we go. Have a great day, kids.